Hello, amazing, beautiful people. Welcome, welcome, welcome to season 7. And this season is actually about you. It's about me sharing some of the beautiful, incredible people that I have had the honor of coaching or walking with during my time in Inspiring Perspectives. And I'm going to start with somebody who has been an absolute gem. She really has. She has got in there, boots and all, with everything that has been asked of her. And so I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey of a lovely lady who, when I met her, was pretty much almost at her lowest of low. To be fair, she was just starting to come out of her pit of doom. And I'm going to share what she's exchanged, what has happened for her, how she has gone from zero to hero in pretty much 12 to 18 months. It has been incredible. Now, the one thing I will be really honest about is life is not a one-stop shop. So I'm not the answer, God is. And I'm not the only way. Jesus is the way. But there are people, like I love that beautiful expression. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I often find that when I'm looking for something, when I'm ready, that I need help with something, the right person will show up at the right time, whether it's an accountant or somebody to help you with your media or somebody to help you walk through that darkest valley so that you can come out into the light. Well, let me introduce to you the first of the case studies, or actually, I don't really want to call them case studies. I want to call them my friends. The first of my friends that I've had the honor of walking with. And her name is Kerri Welden. When I met her, she was she was a beautiful lady that had been restricted to living in a shed. Her life, her career, her dreams, which she was actually rather good at in all of those spaces and her travels, had come to a very abrupt end. It had stopped when she'd contracted CIRS, and that's CIRS, and then WDB, because she'd contracted chronic inflammatory respiratory syndrome, which was caused by a water damaged building that she had obviously been working in. And that had happened 5 years previously. So this had happened prior to me meeting her, prior to us having time with each other. And it had reduced her to literally living in a shed on her parents' property in rural Australia. So she was pretty excluded and isolated when I first met her. Now, I was lucky enough to be part of Brilliant, as was she, and we are continue to be part of Brilliant Movement or Brilliant Perspectives. And Kev and I had started facilitating a Brilliant Circle, which is like a connect group. It's a small group, as it was known at the time. And this beautiful lady came in from Australia. I laugh now because she was quiet, feeling less than, and was looking for answers. The weight of the world, which isn't funny, the weight of her world was on her shoulders. And the reason I laugh, because this lady talks more than I do. It's brilliant. She'd been rejected by the church that she had been diligently serving in, and she could no longer run her locksmith business. And her parents wouldn't even let her into the house. Like, what the heck is going on here? Anyway, and on top of that, she was fighting her case. This is like 4 or 5 years with the lawyers, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, and she had to go for many tests and medical procedures and all sorts of things, which was unhappily racking up debt too. And so she was going through all of that, and that had made her body physically sick on so many levels. However, there she was, holding on to a glimmer of hope that there was another way. She knew about Jesus and had faith. Like her theology is really sound. So she's got lots of head knowledge about the Bible and the stories and all the good stuff. And she'd come across Graham Cook and his teachings and wanted to know more. And the joy of Brilliant Circles is that brilliant is all about relational engagement and direct learning with God. It's not about the person in the room who's taking it having all the flipping answers. I love this because actually that's not helpful. I am not the answer for anyone. I might have some wisdom and insight. I may have some great things to share with you, but I'm not your answer. You are. And the answers for you lie deep inside of you. And the key is finding that coach or that person that will walk alongside you to bring out all the treasure that sometimes gets buried in what's happened to us in our lives. Anyway, Kerri came to join us. And as we started to walk through the fruits of the Spirit, the lights were going on. She was like, oh my goodness. And each week she was working through some of the stuff in her past and in her personal life that didn't sit with what she was learning. And it would work something out in her, and it started to give her hope. It opened her mind and her heart to a whole new way of being and thinking. And of course, in the circle group, you're with like-minded people who accept you for who you are. Actually, they put their arms around you and say, I love you. And so she was in an environment where for the first time probably in her life, she wasn't being judged. She wasn't being condemned. She wasn't being compared to anybody else. And she was free to speak and express herself. And I think for her that was gold. I love the job that I do because I get to see him at work. And I watched God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit gently just walk Kerri kindly towards the light. Out of the darkness, out of the pit, out of the lies, out of all the stuff that didn't belong to her. And while there were many chains that needed to be broken and bondages and lies that just get out the way to set her free, Kerri just leaned in. She went with them and said, come on, let's do this together. She openly shared with us and she continued to lean into Jesus and the Holy Spirit to guide her home to God. There were huge areas and there was a huge amount of hurt, mistrust, unforgiveness, and pain that literally weighed her down. Like you could see it in her face, you could see it. You know, she was downcast. And all those lies about not being good enough or that no one wants you or that you were, you weren't worthy. Whew, out the way, out the way, out the way. God very gently and slowly, just tenderly removed all of those lies from her. There was never anything like shouty. There was never anything big. Just gently kept taking things away and exchanging them with his goodness and kindness, and his love was beautiful. She continued with brilliant, and we stepped into the nature of freedom. It's like, oh my goodness, this is what it's like. Wow. And at that time, I also launched my first ever book, The Great Exchange. Kerri, bless her heart, stepped in, boots and all. She cheered me on and she shared my book and how it had worked for her with others. She stepped into my year's mentoring program and took all the practical applications with both hands and ran with it. God was opening doors that no one could open and he was shutting doors that no one could shut. And the Holy Spirit worked with Kerri on forgiveness. And then following his lead and saying yes to the invitations that God was giving to her. And it didn't come easy. This was not like, oh yeah, Kerri, can you just pop a YouTube channel up? And she goes, oh yeah, no problem, God, I'll do that. She's like, I don't want to do this one. This isn't how it works. No, because all of us, and Kerri, I 100% relate to this lady. I was like, and I get gongusmus now. And when I get into the Sally, I want it my way. I get into, I don't want to do that. And she was, she had to be obedient. She had to step into something she didn't know. And bless her heart, he asked her to start a YouTube channel. And after much resistance from her, she did as he asked her. She was continuing to declare her healing. So her At this point, she'd forgiven everybody that had come against her, or she'd forgiven herself for putting herself in those positions. She'd forgiven the other people for the unkindness that she had received from them. So she was in a place of freedom, but she wasn't quite there. And then when God got her to do the YouTube channel, and then, I love how she declared her healing by partnering with him in faith and obedience. She was miraculously healed. She woke up the next morning, all symptoms had gone, and she was fully healed. And 8 months down the track, where we are today, that remains to be her truth. The reality is that Kerri, God is faithful in all seasons, and she had lent into him. And she was looking, she was searching. So if you're searching today, if where you are now is not where you thought you would be, and you're not getting the results that you thought you would get, come and join us. Because I can tell you now, as I go on this series, you are going to hear from client after client after client after client. I'm going to share their stories with you. They've all said yes, happy for me to share their stories with you, of where they were and where they are now. And my job is to help bridge that gap from here and help you get to here, whatever here is for you. And you're going to hear lots of stories of marriages being being brought back together, of other things that have just incredible stories that are coming. But today, it's about Kerri. And Kerri was ready to hear for God from herself. So when she walked into Brilliant, and I can highly recommend anyone who really wants to know God, who wants to be part of a movement, not a monument, Brilliant is the place to be. We all are part of Brilliant as well, because God is the God of more and. And I hang out with some incredible leaders in that space because we're all ready to run the race for Christ. She was at the end of herself and her own strength, but she was open to a coach and a mentor. She was open to someone saying, come on, let's go together. And we've walked closely together during this time. And let me tell you some of her exchanges. She used to spend her time striving, trying to prove herself. And you know what? So did I. I was there too. Always trying to prove myself, to find some value, to find some worth, that somebody would notice me. And she's exchanged it, as I have, for rest and being in his presence, being with God and resting, knowing that my recognition and my identity doesn't come from the people around me. It comes from him. And the second thing that she has exchanged was rejection and past hurt. They used to drive her every move. When she would meet new people, or she would think about maybe a new opportunity, she just remembered all those horrible things that had happened in the past, and that's what she was expecting in her future. And now she expects, she's actually expectant, because she's exchanged, that she'll get love and acceptance. That people will go, yay, go, Kerri, you can do this. No, I don't want anything to do with you. But yes, we're with you, we're for you, let us lock arms. How can we help and support you? It's very different. And then the lack of value and being ignored. Actually, let's just treat you a little bit like a dog. You can't even live in our house. Go and live in the shed. That's unhelpful. And so she's exchanged that for being seen and heard and highly favored. The grace, the radiance, the presence on her now, she glows. Not the Kerri that came in that, like, no one loved me, no one cared. I don't think even people notice whether I'm here. She's now a key member of my team. Like, she is fire, this beautiful lady. And we'll tell you a bit more about that, but she is highly favored. She is taking ground and pioneering. It's so exciting. Anyway, the fourth thing, she had to live in a shed. She had to do that job. She has to, whatever it might be. And that time pressure, it was like a ticking bomb. It was literally tick, 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 tick. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to do the other. It goes back to that striving and proving. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. She now gets I get to launch my business. I get to pass my locksmith business on to somebody else. And it's all in his perfect timing. Oh, hands off the timing. God, what do you want me to do today? Okay, let's do that. Okay, what are we working on today? And that's what she's done. And you know what? She has moved mountains and continues. Now she's got the reps in. She is moving mountains regularly, breaking chains, doing stuff she's never done before. My goodness, this incredible lady who had massive debt and there was no way, like it was like, oh my goodness, there's no way out, has put her big girl's pants on and exchanged it for being the businesswoman that she was always created to be. And she's creating art and literature that will open doors to her financial freedom. And actually, he's giving her many doors to financial freedom. She's exchanged, I am sick, for I'm fit and healthy. Now, all of us, I'm fit and healthy, and there's still some work for me to do. But we're claiming the goodness of God. We're claiming our fitness and our health. And that's exactly what she did. And she got healed. And I know sometimes God doesn't always heal. And there's a journey in that too. And actually, our Beauty for Ashes book, we will hear from an incredible lady in a wheelchair who isn't healed. She remains in a wheelchair. And there are some that are and some that aren't. But what they've all got is faith. Anyway, the other thing that was, 5 was the debt is now cleared. 6 is she's sick to fit and healthy. And the next exchange was she had no real friends because actually nobody was standing with her. And her exchange now is she has family. And actually some of that family flew to Australia and said, come and have a holiday with us so that we could spend quality time together. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. And then the last one I've got on my list, which is 8, and 8 is the number for new beginnings, is my way or the highway, which creates disconnection. Kerri wanted life her way. Why didn't this happen? And why? And I am absolutely 100% like this is a hole I can fall into easily. Sally's way of doing things. Well, if they don't, and I get all grumpy, and it causes disconnection. But when we keep our eyes on the prize, as Kerri does his way, makes a way and creates connection with him and connection with others. It brings peace and kindness and gentleness. So part of the reason that I wanted to share all those exchanges is Kerri has shed the old I'm dependent on others to feel good about herself. And she's exchanged it for an attitude of gratitude with God. And that he is the one who gives in this season. She's dependent on him. And as she has lent into him, as she has said, come on, God, what are we doing today? Where are we going today? What's happening? She's launched her business. She's created the most beautiful anointed book. It really is amazing. And a YouTube channel. And she's taken ownership of her finances, and all debts will be paid in full by the end of the year. That is no mean task. She's gone from literally living in a shed, no income, debts up to her eyeballs, to living in a beautiful home with her debts cleared. It's incredible. She's gone from sick to healed. She's gone from being heavy with all the striving and the guilt and the shame and no one loves me, boom, you are the weakest link, into I am loved, I'm chosen, I'm whole, I'm cared for, I'm seen, I'm heard. It's beautiful. Whew. And she's now taking up some house and dog sitting opportunities that, have also enlightened her to the fact that her home is a blessing, not a curse. Kerri is a key member of my Leaders in Life Master. I say mine, it's not actually mine, it's his. But the key member of our Leaders in Life Mastermind group. and will be speaking at the up-and-coming event in February on the power of the secret place. So I've given you a bit of a taster about her story, but she's going to tell you how she went from one space to the other at that conference. And I look forward to my continued journey with her as he takes her from glory to glory. And I share this lovely lady's story with you to encourage you and to witness the goodness of God. His love for you personally. His plan to prosper you and not to harm you. And his love that covers all things that we put down about ourselves. I've got some questions for you. And I really want you to think about these and answer them for yourself. Did you know that God only sees the best in you? Did you know that he never leaves you or forsakes you? Even though you might not know him yet, or you might not have journeyed with him yet. But I can tell you now, I didn't come and say hello to God until about 8 years ago. But I look back and I can see him in every single part of my life. It is amazing. I might not have been chatting to him, but he was there with me every moment. And he is with you. Did you know that he's with you to pour love on you in every moment, to protect you, to provide for you? Even in those darkest hours, even when ugly things have happened, he holds your hand if we look for it. And did you know that he has the most amazing plan for you that enables you to thrive in life in all situations and be absolutely brilliant? Well, celebrating any of you who actually didn't know any of that, because I didn't know any of that when I first come and hang into this place. And neither did Kerri, to be fair. We had no idea that God is up close and personal and that he wants the best for us and for you. And you are welcome to join us on this crazy journey of discovery and adventure. You know what I love about him? He heals the brokenhearted and he sets the captives free. Enough is enough of all the lies, all of the stuff that holds us back. You know what? He wants us to enjoy the life that he meant it to be for you, full of love and peace and joy and prosperity and abundance. And so if you want to come and join Kerri and I, you can come and join us at www.inspiringperspectives.co.nz/contact. So just follow the link, but in the chat or in the series, and come and say, hey, I want to be part of what you and Kerri have got. I want what you've got. And let us give it to you too. But it's time. If you want to run your own business, if you want to be the person you're always called to be, it's about flowing in and running in our lane and not trying to be in somebody else's and just doing what God calls us to do. And I can tell you now, it is the best life ever. I never thought I would be a multiple best-selling author. I never thought that I would be running with leaders who are phenomenal. And the recent book Voices for Impact, which I'm part of, unbelievable, 17 incredible people doing massive work around the world. And I get to be part of that. So if you really are listening to this and going, God, whatever season you are in, some of you might be 70 plus, some of you might be 20 plus, some of you maybe somewhere in the middle. But God has a plan and a season for you to prosper right now and for things for you to do to add value, to make our world a better space. So Father God, I just pray that whoever is listening to this today, whoever has taken time to hear a little bit about my beautiful friend Kerri, whose family, Lord, call them home, call them up, call them higher, call them into your arms and into everything that they have got for you. And if you'd like a coach, a mentor, somebody to cheer you on, hold your hand and walk with you, then get in touch. www.inspiringperspectives.co.nz/contact. God bless.